Tana Mongeau's situation is absolutely crazy. Hello, you gorgeous donuts. Tana Mongeau is one of the biggest influencers in the world and has been for, I'd say, the last decade. She originally grew from posting like wild story times.
He me with a toothbrush.
After doing these story times, her ability to like adapt to any niche and kind of any content strand has made her so relevant still today. And in the last couple of years, she's arguably been more successful than ever when she launched her podcast, The Cancelled Podcast. Now, I believe she titled it this because she has been cancelled a number of times, so it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of saying you can't cancel me now because I've got a podcast called Cancelled. So who's the idiot? Now, this podcast hit #1 in loads of countries. It sold out a tour in America. They even sold out a tour in the UK with pretty big venues as well. Like, they didn't just do small shows. This was a hugely successful podcast. However, after 2 years of doing this podcast, with it seeming like they weren't going to slow down at all, it was only growing more and more with every day that came. Tana and her co-host have announced that they are abruptly cancelling the Cancelled Podcast. And the reason why it's ending, well, that's where things get messy. So in this video, we're going to talk about how there has been a lot of drama within the podcast, which has led to its inevitable downfall. We're also going to talk about how the fans of this podcast have theorized that both the co-hosts absolutely hate each other. We're also going to talk about both of their responses to cancelling the podcast and all the drama that came with it and the reason why, and so much other stuff. So get comfy because there's so much to go through. But before we do get into all of that stuff, I do want to kind of document the rise of this podcast and how it kind of, you know, started to get a lot of traction, as I do believe it is an important reason why one of the most successful podcasts in the world is suddenly ending. Now, the first place I want to start is the first ever video they uploaded to the channel regarding the podcast, and this is the official trailer.
Don't remember doing this at all.
I can only hold myself accountable.
Cancel.
Look how good my life is.
So what else? Cancel me.
Tana Mongeau is cancelled.
You just know when she edited that trailer, she was like, oh, I've literally ate and left no crumbs there. Like, I've honestly bossed that. That is so girly pop. I have slayed the house down. Can I use any other Gen Z slang in there? Give us a sec, guys. Oh, it's about to get lit in here. Sorry, I went too far. Killed it. Absolutely killed it. Now, that is the trailer in its entirety, and you would be forgiven to think that possibly this is a solo podcast. Like, they only really talk about Tana in this trailer. I mean, Tana is famous, of course, it's her podcast. However, she actually does have a co-host who is on every single podcast with her, called Brooke Schofield. Now, I believe at this point, her co-host Brooke wasn't actually famous at all. I don't know if she was even really posting content, but Tana and her had been friends for quite a while, and Tana decided that she wanted to start a podcast with Brooke because she felt like she had like good energy with her. And at the end of the day, like, two influencers can start a podcast and it can be dead. The best thing to do is start it with someone that you actually have chemistry with, because that's what's going to keep people watching, clearly. Now, after starting the podcast, her co-host Brooke has received more hate than arguably any influencer I've seen over the last year, but we're going to get into that later on, the reason for that. But straight away, before they'd even uploaded a few episodes, they talked about how they first got in contact with each other, and this is where people had their doubts about their friendship. Do you know, like, it's actually quite sad how much I've had to like know about this and research about this about someone else who doesn't know who I am. I'm a little bit of a freak, aren't I? I mean, you are too. We're all freaks together at the end of the day. At least we're not hating on anyone. We're all having a good time. Now, this is known within the community of the Cancelled Podcast as the Mindy situation. I believe that Tana uploaded a story time where she talked about how a guy she was speaking to actually shagged one of her friends in a cinema room when she was having a party. Obviously, you know, something we can all relate to. Don't you hate when you invite your friend over and they end up shagging, you know, the largest speaker do in your cinema room? It's so annoying. That happens to me every night. I'm like, at least turn off the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, please. Does David Hasselhoff have to see this? Now, this friend was called Mindy, hence the Mindy situation. Now, obviously, if you found out your friend was shagging someone that you were speaking to, you're probably gonna fall out with that friend. I think friends are a very loose term to call that person at this point. Now, at this point, her audience didn't know who Mindy was, but they put two and two together and found out that Mindy was actually Brooke Schofield, the person that she's now got the podcast with. So, like, how do you go from that to, you know, starting a business with someone? Obviously, they've patched it up in the middle, but I mean, they must have had some good couple of conversations to get over that. I don't know how they sorted it out, but they did. However, because this was common knowledge within the community once the podcast started, a lot of people have said that a small fragment of the audience has always had it out for Brooke because they've they've kind of attached that thing that she did with her whole personality, which I guess is fair because that's their first impression of her. And we all know, like, you know, first impressions are really hard to shake off. You have to do a lot of good to kind of, you know, sway people's opinions. Now, despite that small part of the audience hating Brooke at this point, they still went on to have amazing numbers with the podcast. And there's so many funny clips from this podcast. Like, I've never seen an episode in its entirety, but the clips from this always come on my TikTok and I always end up watching them because they seem like a laugh.
I'm not the most financially responsible person in the world. I realized I really had a problem the other day when my account balance went below 0. Okay. And I'm like, what did it? You know, what pushed me over? It was a little girl I'm sponsoring in the Philippines for $30 a month. Like, out of the goodness of my heart, I started sponsoring this little girl. It's only $1 a day.
So, like, what? She didn't eat this month?
She ate, but I couldn't.
Sorry, that is actually hilarious. She ate, but I could. $1 a day? Damn, she's not just eating, she's eating good. I'm joking. I mean, obviously, like, you can't, you know, like, what is this? Like, Alfie Day is surviving on a pound challenge. Now, obviously, loads of people can relate to going into your overdraft, and I feel like this is why a large proportion of the audience really liked Brooke, because she was almost, like, relatable in a whole kind of crowd of unrelatable influencers in LA, like that Tana Mongeau would kind of hang out with. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Is it Mongeau? Who knows?
Her name is Marianne. She's 45 pounds. Goals.
Did you just say goals?
Now you can see, like, they've got a genuine connection in terms of chemistry. Like, these two really bounce off each other well. Like, clearly they've got the same sense of humor. And I think that obviously is why this podcast went to the moon in terms of numbers.
Can I say something horrible? Do you ever, like, I have flashes of dead people I know whenever I'm... Wait. And I'm not kidding, because if they are watching...
Can I say something? Same.
It's so...
Well, I mean, they're not watching. I guess from the heavens. Like, I've always hoped that they would kind of turn a blind eye to that. Like, you know, if you're going for a walk or something, and your granddad's just been watching you because you... Not that, but just prior to that. Once you shut that door, I'd imagine your granddad just goes for, like, a newspaper or something. They're not watching. They can't, surely not. Because what happens when you go up there and you meet them? You know, you're like, I've seen you have a walk. Oh, granddad, how well? Granddad, you didn't have to bring that up. Surely they're not doing that. If anything, you can't be a beyond the grave. The worst type of... Anyway, that's such a unique sentence though. Like, I see dead people when I'm having a walk. Is she like into it? She's like nearly there, and then like a dead person goes woo, putting her off. I don't know. Don't really want to think about that.
The other day, Ty was like, Tana, would you ever let people like run into me, like 4 guys? And I was like, yes, it's my dream. It's like my biggest thing. Like, it's the only thing that I just like really haven't done and I would really love to do. But to all of the people that are clipping this, I have not and I will not.
Oh, Bonnie Blue's influence on this world needs to be ridden. It's your dream to get a train ridden on you? Really? 4 people? That's not a train. That's a minibus, love. It doesn't make it any better that you're like, but I'm not going to do it, obviously. Maybe it does, actually. Maybe it does. You know, she's not actually pulling through with it. It's just the fact that that's in your mind, though. They also had guest episodes, which would do really well. I always remember this one clip when they got the really famous American comedian Matt Rife on, and they kind of took the piss out of him when no one had kind of done that before.
Here's a very humbling experience that epiphany that I've had recently. Because so many people hate me for really no reason, and it really made me realize that like people only hate somebody they're jealous of.
That was a really, really good, well-rounded answer. I'm trying to wrap my head around. Do you think people who hate Osama are jealous of him?
Yeah, of course. They're mad that he wasn't the one calling the shots.
That is genuinely hilarious. Especially when he's a comedian, and I feel like he's famous for crowd work, which is like, you know, thinking on your feet. She completely stumped him there. Because obviously, people don't just criticize people because they're jealous of them. You know, when people have weight to their criticism, you know, it can actually be meaningful. They're not just doing it because they want to be in your position. It's just hilarious how she completely destroyed him by going, oh yeah, like, so is everyone just jealous of Osama? Then everyone just wanted to be Joseph Stalin. That's why they didn't like him. Why was everyone trying to, destroy Jack the Ripper? Oh, just because they wanted to be him. They all wanted to go out in the night and do horrible things. I do believe there was a backstory to this one as well, because I believe Matt Rife was talking to Brooke Schofield, and, you know, he wasn't that nice to her. Something happened, and that's why Tana kind of took the piss out of him on the podcast. There was also a really funny guest moment where Tana surprised Brooke with Josh Peck, obviously from Drake and Josh, and she loved that show.
I'm gonna literally cry.
No, I'm not worth tears, I swear to God.
I'm literally gonna cry.
No, this is a good thing.
I love you.
Oh, Josh, I love you too.
That is so funny. You can tell that like the vibes at this point in the podcast was so good, and it's so clear to see why this podcast like went to the moon. Although they had loads of fun, light-hearted clips like this, one of the main themes of the podcast was it was centered around drama. Hence the name Cancelled. Like the amount of drama that this podcast would cover was wild, and it's not just like, I don't understand, like, you know how we cover drama sometimes and it's just light-hearted, we just talk about a situation. They would really intensely talk about stuff, like they would call people out, they would shout down to the camera, like it was almost like they just give zero f***s and just went for it. I remember when Brooke was talking about an ex called Clinton Kane, and he done like a lot of bad stuff, like he lied to her apparently about like his parents dying. We done a video on it here if you want to watch it after this video. He basically like led her on, like talking about how he had a really hard life when apparently he didn't, and like she found out like later on, and she decided to like go on the podcast and fully like go at him fully, and loads of people loved it because she was being like honest and she was holding nothing back. But as soon as I saw them clips, I definitely kind of got a vibe. I definitely got a vibe that if anything happened to her that she did wrong, people are going to reciprocate this energy towards her.
One time, I made a joke. I said, what would you do if I just like fell down these stairs right now? And when I tell you that man didn't talk 2 days, he made me feel so horrible and disgusting because apparently his mom, that's how she died.
Falling down the stairs?
Falling down the stairs. And then
like,
she was in a coma.
Say she got eaten by a shark. At least get more creative.
Was in a coma, and he's the one who had to pull the plug. And he got the deed to the 8-bedroom house on the beach in Australia, and he tore it up because he doesn't care about wealth. And his mom owned Birkenstock.
Again, it's amazing if you're a fan of these people, the fact that she's been so open and revealing all of these secrets, that whether they're true or not, like she's revealing this to the masses when he's not there to like give his side. It's just intense, that's all I'm saying, okay? It's very personal stuff. Brooke also had an altercation with Alyssa Violet where they were kind of going back and forth, and after Alyssa Violet made a video on her, I believe, Brooke went fully at her.
Know that your video is getting a lot of attention just because are watching your Clinton Kane series. And I want to go on record and say, Alyssa, I have been getting so many views, so many more views than you for so long before my 14-part series about Clinton Kane. It is actually ridiculous.
It's so funny, like, when influencers from LA have beef, it's like, yeah, well, actually, my engagement rate has been better than yours for years, so shut it, sister. The stuff they used to get, like, one up on each other is just so funny. But again, people loved them for this. But what I think is when you talk like this on a podcast and when you talk with such, like, I don't want to say aggressiveness, but with such assertiveness about other people, you attract an audience that likes that, and that doesn't make them bad people. They just like that sort of content. Not all of them, but a large majority of the audience come for that. So they love drama, so if the podcast isn't given drama anymore, chances are they're going to want to create it, right? And that's why there's a lot of drama about Brooke that we're going to get into. Also, honorable mention, Tana did have the drama on tour where she basically revealed that her and Cody Ko slept together when she was young. I don't know the ins and outs of that situation, so I don't want to, like, you know, say anything and get it wrong, but I know she was young and Cody Ko was like older. He has a clip from it on tour.
Smallest you've ever had sex with. Oh my god, do no one look at me, Cody Ko. I can say that. I was literally 17. I can say that. What? Sorry.
Okay, she said she was 17. Just a double whammy for Cody there. I mean, it's his own doing. Not the bit, you can't help that, I don't think. And I believe, like, Cody Ko got heavily cancelled for that, you know. I don't know what he's doing now, but yeah, I don't see him about on YouTube as much as what I used to, like, prior to this coming out. Now, disregarding just the clip we've watched there, but the previous clips we've covered of Brooke, like, being very assertive, like I said, this raw honesty attracts such a strong community because people, like, you know, really rooting with you, like, they're in this with you. And obviously they were riding on the back of this momentum, like continuing to do it. So, you know, the momentum was just keep going up and up. The show was getting bigger and bigger. However, during this momentum spike, there was a moment where the audience decided to kind of turn on them. And this is where a lot of cracks between Tana and Brooke and the whole podcast dynamic started to show. There would be often like inconsistent upload dates. Like I believe they were like once a week, very consistent, doing really well. And then they would miss a week or miss a couple of weeks upload and stuff. Just like the audience was starting to get annoyed because obviously they've worked this into their schedule. They've put time and effort into supporting these people, and then they're kind of just taking the piss with the upload schedule. You are going to theorize why suddenly it's not as good as it was. And they started to say that it was because there was a rift between Tana and Brooke. It's a drama podcast, okay? It's always going to have drama surrounding it. And this was when the audience started to look back at some of the old episodes and kind of clip certain parts where they would be arguing or it was a little bit awkward.
I think we'll always butt heads to an extent because we truly see the world
completely differently.
Though, like, somebody could walk in this room right now and like drop a cup of water on the ground and you and I would perceive it like as polar opposite as two people can perceive two things ever. You know what I mean? And that's like, that just...
Like, this is the nicest possible way of saying, yeah, me and you just don't get on anymore. Like, I'm not even exaggerated here. So someone spills a glass of water and you two would argue over that. Like, you two would have different opinions. Like, it's a glass of water. Like, you're basically saying here, you two just disagree on absolutely everything. Now, I know this was like a huge plus point of the podcast that they had contrasting views, but you still kind of want to have some similar, you know, motives and some similar views so you actually have some chemistry.
That just is the goddamn truth, and that's why we like, I think, slay so hard as like friends outside of work. Like if right now we weren't doing canceled and we went to lunch, we're gonna have a great time. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but when it's like, get these two to agree on merch, transportation, really, a title, edit, anything, like we are always going, and then we both are very like kind of my way or the highway people, you know. So then it's like just getting two people, like chicken or the egg, like we're never gonna.
And this also says to me, like, basically, I think they just want yes people around them, both of them, but obviously they're not yes people, so that's just why they kind of disagree and have arguments. They basically want everyone to just agree with their point and they have their own thing.
Well, everyone is just so mean to me. I like to do things on my own schedule, and it is funny, even the internet's perception of me. Like, I'll see TikToks of you three, and all the top comments are like, Tana is asleep, and it's like, God forbid I watch one of them and review a Patreon in my room. I really have. I've been getting up early. McCall and I have been on like our own program, and I ended up in Ireland having to deal with a lot of internal work drama that I'm not going to podcast about, but it was hell on earth trying to figure it out, and that took an entire day. And then everyone's just coming at me like I'm literally a sloth and I hate my friends and I hate these beautiful places, and it's like I have other things to do.
No, it's not that. I just noticed it wasn't a priority of yours, and it's fine, but
my priority was editing the cancel Patreon.
No, that's not true. You spent 24 consecutive hours in the Paris mall, like no air,
but it's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous.
Obviously they're having contrasting views like Tana has mentioned, but it's just the way it's kind of getting translated. I know, like, I don't know too much about their dynamic, and I know they always have contrasting things, but it just doesn't seem fun anymore. And you can tell by the way that they're speaking that recording this podcast seems like a chore. And I know that sounds ridiculous because it's a podcast, but the energy is just totally off in my opinion. Like, watching this, I don't really feel comfortable. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like guys shouldn't really be watching this. They're kind of having a conversation that should maybe be off camera. And it is interesting because Brooke has responded to a lot of these videos getting clipped up on TikTok that is showing them kind of not getting on. I'm sorry, no one is going to make me feel bad about wanting my friend to see other countries with us, laughing my off. So obviously, like, this, like, the comments really affect her, and she's talked about this multiple times, how, you know, she gets a lot of hate and the comments just like ruin her day. And that's really sad because at the end of the day, like, she is a human being, and, you know, people sending hate is not right. Like, you shouldn't send hate to someone. Criticism, right? If you've got criticism, feel free to do that, but genuine hate, like, that can really ruin someone's day and, you know, like, really destroy people. But I feel like if you put any energy into, you know, replying to clipped up TikToks or hate comments, it's just going to take over your overall state. relate. You just have to ignore them or just kind of see if there's anything you can improve from what people are saying. Now, we are going to look at Tana's response at the end of this video to the drama we're going to get onto, because I feel like that is really telling. I do feel like the main reason why Brooke has started to get even more hate is because she had like a scandal where apparently she had like racist tweets in her past or something. She did later apologize for this. There's multiple videos out there talking about that. I'm not going to break down that whole situation, but it is important to mention that, you know, that was a thing. And that went so big that Tana actually decided to remove Brooke as a co-host for a couple of episodes on the podcast.
Obviously, as you guys can see, I am alone on this couch. Brooke is not here with us today, and I want to be abundantly clear that that was my decision. We all saw the tweets, and they're f***ed up, and they're horrific, and I'm saying that as a white person, right? Like, I cannot even imagine being a black non-fan or fan and reading those tweets.
So obviously, like, this is, you know, it's just a situation obviously for Tana as well. Like, I guess that's her friend, you know, and she's having to deal with, you know, the fact she's done like a terrible thing, and, you know, the fact that that's her friend and business partner. Like, it's an awkward thing to navigate, and it probably was the best decision to kind of suspend her from the podcast indefinitely. However, when I did see this, I did think of iDubbbz's content cop on Tana Mongeau. Some of the clips in there, but you know, we'll just brush past that, I guess. Now, Brooke did actually come back to the podcast, but ever since she came back, like, the comments were even worse than before, and a lot of people said that the podcast just isn't the same now, and the dynamic is off even more than it was before as well. Brooke was the downfall. It was never the same after Brooke's scandal, unfortunately. Brooke being exposed really destroyed the pod. Now, whether you agree with that or not, like, you know, that, I guess that's a decision for the community, whether they think the podcast isn't the same, you know, and they don't want to support that. That's completely fair to them. But I do feel like even before this scandal came out, people were kind of rooting for the downfall of this podcast, even though they watched it. Like, I know Chloe watched this podcast, like, every single episode of it in the early days, and she would always say that the comments were always really negative. And I wonder if it was because the entire podcast was kind of centered around drama, and you, like we've mentioned before, that, you know, create a certain audience. But I just want to highlight with this certain scenario, like, people, you know, giving her criticism for what she did is completely fair. Now, at this point, things were like bubbling off the edge. Like, it was almost like the pan was just completely full. Things were spilling off left, right, and center. On top of this scandal that Brooke had, and then returning to the podcast, it only lasted for like a few months after this, and then an episode dropped which had everybody talking. So the girls announced that the podcast will be cancelled itself for good. They uploaded this video first saying why the cancelled podcast is ending, and then another one saying the truth about cancelled ending. When they announced this, a lot of people seemed to like change their tune, or at least the whole community. Like, it was almost like they were really sad that it was ending. But I guess if you do enjoy something, you probably don't comment as much. Like, I imagine there's people that are watching this video that watch every single one of my videos, but you've never commented on it, but you enjoy them, but you just, you know, you just like, and that's fine. You just enjoy it in your own time. You don't feel the need to tell anyone, and that's completely fine. But if I announce that I'm going to quit this channel, you might actually be inclined to comment, you know, like putting yourself in that community's shoes. I totally understand why now the comments are overly positive. And in their most recent podcast, as of recording this video, they talked about what is going to happen after the podcast ends, because Tana owns this channel. Like, this was her vlog channel, I believe, before she turned into Cancelled. Like, Cancelled really grew the channel, but she was posting on this before, you know, I guess she was making content with Brooke. And in this episode, Tana was saying to Brooke that she's thinking about deleting every single episode of Cancelled and just doing her own content on this channel, which sent the community into absolute spiral. And it even came on my For You page. Like, everybody has been talking about what she said here.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I can't get my together. I'm about to start like posting Bible verses on my main YouTube channel. I don't know. And then it's like, what do I do with this channel? Because it was my vlog channel before. Now is it just like continuing eras, and then like all of a sudden I'm like doing something else on this? Like, it's just, do I leave Cancelled up? Or do we delete all of Cancelled?
What? Why would you delete all of Cancelled?
I don't know.
I'm counting on at least like $1,000 here or there from AdSense.
I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, that's just
why
so
would
messy.
we erase it? Or do you hate me that much?
No, I don't hate you. I'm just saying, like, the era, like, I don't know.
You want to delete it all?
I've also said a lot of things on Cancelled that I would love.
Like, to me, this reveals everything about the motives, in my opinion, of Tana. The reason I showed at the start of this video the trailer just being about Tana, like when she started this podcast, I honestly believed it was like her podcast and it was her co-host on it, Brooke, because nothing in the trailer had Brooke in it, even though she was like, you know, an equal part of this podcast. And now she's talking about deleting every single episode. She clearly saw this as like her baby and Brooke was just a part of it rather than like a joint venture. And I know some people will, you know, dispute that, and that's totally fine because this is just my opinion. I'm not saying this is fact. This is just the way I see the situation with no emotional like involvement in it. Now, probably the most important part of this is, you know, like Brooke has put a lot of time and effort into this. Obviously, she's had the cancellations and she's had everything which she, you know, she's faced the music for, but she like is an equal part of this podcast and has been an equal reason why this channel has grew so much. So the fact that Tana would just kind of, you know, take all of this away as if it never really existed, in my opinion, is a little bit of an insult to her. And I feel like I have a pretty unique kind of perspective on this situation, because me and my girlfriend Chloe have been in this exact same situation. We had a podcast on a YouTube channel that used to be my like you know, second channel, I guess. That was a channel in its own thing. It was doing all right before Chloe came on it, and then Chloe came on it. It did so much better. Like, me and her were equal forces in making that channel a success, and then we had a contract with Spotify, and then when the contract with Spotify ended, we stopped doing the podcast. It's the exact same situation that they're in. However, I didn't for one second like think, oh, okay, well, this channel has got nearly 100,000 subscribers now, I'm gonna post my own content on there and delete everything, because I would like, that wouldn't even enter my mind, because I feel like that would just be an insult to Chloe, because it's almost like eradicating all of the time and effort Chloe's put into it, and as if that effort was just for nothing and it just never existed. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, them videos are still up to date. I want people to see them. If we do start it again, then maybe we would start fresh, but that's because we're starting it together and it's a joint decision, not a selfish decision, which I feel like this is from Tana, in my opinion, even though it was her channel before. And like Brooke also said, you know, like, I imagine she probably is doing okay financially, you know, like, this is a huge podcast, it's successful, it would have been quite good money for her, if not really good money, I have no idea. But what I do have an idea of is how much they will be earning through AdSense. Last month they got 2.3 million views, which for a podcast you're probably looking at like a £10 RPM. They probably earned about 20 grand. Obviously they have like a full production team, they'll have so many people working on their podcast because it just seems like a big production, but you know, the profits and after tax and everything will be a canny amount, and just wiping that clear is almost just wiping off her main income stream. Because when you look at a YouTube channel, and it's kind of, I know I'm getting very techie here, but this is because I'm just within the industry and I just like, I'm really like, this is my passion in life basically. Anyway, when you look at her YouTube channel, like, she's doing really well, and you know, she's just starting off, but it's just off a first look, the videos that get double, if not treble, if not quadruple the views are the ones with Tana in. So her entire revenue is based on making content with Tana, and if, you know, that connection is destroyed, that kind of leaves her in a place where, you know, it's a worrying place in my opinion in terms of like a career as a creator. And I know many people won't have sympathy for her, you know, like, because obviously this is a very privileged job, and I totally understand that. But what I'm saying is, this position is avoidable if Tana just keeps them podcasts up, so that she's still, you know, people are still reminded by her, and people can still go and watch them episodes and be like, oh, I wonder what Brooke's doing, and you know, just all of that kind of thing. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I just think it's a pretty cruel thing that she would even contemplate doing it, never mind actually doing it. Just the thought that she would do that. Like, Tana Mongeau is big enough where she can just start a brand new channel and do really well. Like, she really doesn't need to do it on this channel, in my opinion. And also, it just wouldn't do as well because everyone's here for podcast content, not for solo content anyway.
Oh my god, everybody download these episodes. God,
yeah,
I'm scared of her now.
No, I just like, there's so many things to figure out. I feel like
I know I'm psychoanalyzing this and I'm doing too much here, but it's the fact like Brooke's like talking to the camera. It's almost like she's in the office and she's like looking at the camera like, are you like hearing this? Like how I'm hearing this? Like, this is really up. Anyone? Her saying she wants to delete all of cancelled seems like a power play, like she's always had the upper hand. I haven't even seen that comment, and you know, that person is within the community. That's how I read it, straight from the trailer. Like, she's always been the one in power here, really.
Oh, like we're like dividing our assets or something?
Just like, you know, it's like, it's all so confusing.
Well, God, like, he cheated with 40 women. Like, we just decided like
It's so true.
this isn't gonna work.
Have you seen her face? Oh my god. Like, this is awkward. Why is this conversation on the podcast? Like, comparing her to Austin McBroom, who, like she said, cheated with like 40 women. It just shows what Tana kind of her opinion of Brooke is right now. Like honestly, I feel like that's cruel. Genuinely, like I'm just calling that out. That is cruel if she does do this. Now Tana never really responds to drama that much unless it's like a huge thing like what the Brooke scandal was. But she responded to the comment section of the latest podcast on TikTok with a 7-minute TikTok.
Harry Jowsey just called me on live, right? And he's like, oh my God, are we Team Tana or Team Brooke? And I'm like, okay, when Harry Jowsey's on live calling me about something, maybe I should just talk about it. And I did talk about it on the podcast, and that's coming out in like 5 or 6 days.
These people, and I don't know if it's because, you know, I've been in spaces with influencers before, but her saying she doesn't want to talk about this, she just want to talk about it. That's why she's done a 7-minute TikTok. If she didn't want to talk about it, she wouldn't upload it. Oh, it would just be a short TikTok. She does want to talk about it. Also, straight away, before she says anything, cheeky plug for the next podcast, it's a promotional thing she's doing here. It's so clear. Like, it doesn't make her a bad person. It makes her really smart. That's what it makes her. But just know that going into what she's going to say.
If you did not see, on the last episode of the Cancelled podcast, I am sitting with Brooke, and towards the end, I implore the idea of deleting episodes of Cancelled. Don't shoot. I should not have just said that so flippantly. The problem is, obviously, though, when you're sitting and you're podcasting with someone that you have done this with for so long, and like you're on tour together and you're friends. I know the F word, it scares you all. You just say shit sometimes. You say shit flippantly, an idea comes through your head and you say it.
I do understand the whole friend thing. Like, obviously, I've called out certain moments where I think they would probably agree they're not, you know, on the same page with things. But from what I've seen researching this video, it does seem like a small proportion of their audience, but a very loud proportion, really just kind of don't want them to be friends. Like, it's almost like a small portion of the community is plotting for the podcast's downfall, even though they watch every episode, which I've never understood, because if you don't enjoy something, my thing is just don't watch it again. Like, if I watch an episode of a podcast and I'm like, oh, these two don't look like friends, the vibe's off, I'm not gonna like leave a nasty comment and just hate on it. I'm just not gonna watch it again. Like, I don't feel like I need to tell them that they're awful people. I get criticism, like totally I get criticism, like because that can actually help the creators improve and it's needed. But sheer hate, I just don't understand like the need for it.
I want nothing but the best for the girl. Like, I originally sat her on the couch on Cancelled as she was leaving her waitress job because I believed that she was destined for more. And then people enjoyed it, and it snowballed into this co-host Cancelled that ended up being so amazing. Like, there were so many moments across Cancelled where she carried me on her back, and she carried the show or the live show or did so many things, you know, and I'm so aware of that. So to try to take anything away from her or not want the best for her or like her money or anything, it's just like, it's pointless and it makes no sense to me.
You know, just listening to her here, like obviously she's praising, you know, her friend, which is really nice. Like, you don't do this often with friends, like true friends. You kind of just take the piss out of each other, and you rarely kind of tell them how great they are because, you know, it's kind of just understood that you like each other because you spend time together. So I totally understand that, and I imagine Brooke would really appreciate us saying this. But one thing I can definitely tell is this is probably a big reason why they're also stopping it, is because it's not fun anymore. Their friendship is not a friendship anymore. It's almost like a business exchange. Their friendship isn't strong enough to get through all of this hate and all of these comments, because imagine, you know, you and your best friend at home, imagine every single day people are commenting that you hate each other every day, random stuff, sending so much hate. Eventually you're probably going to be like, can we just like be friends offline? Like, is it really worth it for, you know what I mean? And I feel like this does show that they are probably friends off camera. Like, on camera, they probably don't get on because it's exhausting and now they're just sick of it. Off camera, I feel like it will improve their relationship drastically. And yeah, pretty much the rest of this TikTok is just going over the same thing over and over. I think she's just trying to make sure that people know that, you know, she's really sorry about what she said. Again, this entire situation has definitely been blown out of proportion, and I feel like, you know, because it was bubbling so much, I think this is just, it's good to call it quits, because if they didn't, it would only get worse from this point, because it seemed like it was really just, it was getting worse by the episode and more stuff was coming out. They seem to be hating each other more. It's good to just call it quits now before they actually really do fall out, if they haven't already. I don't think they have. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they both go from here, because they both post separate content, but it's nowhere near as big as the podcast. It'll just be interesting to see like how they kind of move forward and how they kind of move on with their lives, and if they they actually do post content together on each other's channels, which I'm sure a lot of their audience probably would want to see. Anyway, Donuts, I hope you've enjoyed my coverage of this. As always, when I cover these sort of situations, I never want to be nasty to anyone involved. I just want to present the information to you and you make your own opinion. And I know I don't need to say this to you at home because, you know, we're all nice over here. But just be respectful with your opinions. Like, no hate in the comment section. Just give your opinion, whatever it is. I know I don't need to say that, but just for the new people, this is the kind of vibe we have over here. Anyway, I am rambling. If you want to watch another video from me, click this video right here. And if you haven't already, do press subscribe. Go on.
Kirkham, baby.